We've got a heroic act at Columbus East High School. We've got a doctor with some viral controversial claims about the CDC and the State Department of Health making the rounds on social media. And boy, do we have some hot temperatures and the chance of severe weather. Lots to talk about here at 10 o'clock. Welcome inside the air-conditioned studio here at Channel 13. It is a good thing to be in air conditioning on a hot night like it is today. Great to be with you on this Tuesday night. Let's bring in Angela and find out the latest on the forecast. How you doing, my friend? We haven't done this 10 o'clock thing in a long time, have we?
I know. 2.5 weeks of the Olympics.
Right?
And yeah, it's been a while.
I know. Good to be back.
It is good to be back.
Yeah, with you, and we've certainly got a lot to talk about as it pertains to the weather.
Hot. Feels like temperatures 100 to 110 is where we peaked this afternoon, and we still have feels like temperatures in the 90s at 10 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
That really this first graphic really kind of sums up what a hot day it was. It still feels like 90 in Indianapolis, still feels like 93 in Muncie and Lafayette, still feels like 92 in Bedford. And remember, heat index values today topping 100 for several hours. Now, this is live Doppler 13 radar. If you were with us this evening, we had a couple of pop-up storms, but now the focus is really to the north, and that's where it was earlier this evening. We had another round of severe storms roll through northern Illinois. National Weather Service out of the northern sections of Illinois did confirm 7 tornadoes from last night, and they dealt with damaging wind-producing storms tonight. And oftentimes when we see that little curve on the radar, that indicates that big damaging wind threat, and that's the reason for the severe thunderstorm watch for a good part of Michigan and the far northern sections of our state. Put on storm reports. All of those circles are wind damage reports from northern Illinois. So this is a line of severe storms that's going to impact Michigan and northern Indiana over the next several hours. And that's where we find the higher threat for severe weather tonight. We're under the risk for severe weather again tomorrow. So does any of that up north get here? Not necessarily. It's going to continue to basically move west to east. However, we may have an additional line form a little closer to central Indiana sometime around 3, 4 in the morning, and that may impact the morning drive, especially across the northern half of the state. So like this morning, it could be another noisy start to the day tomorrow. Grab the umbrella, grab the rain gear for the early half of Wednesday. If you need some dry time, it'll be tomorrow afternoon. And I think the only thing that would help the heat is if the clouds and rain stick around a little longer. May not see those heat index values top 105, 110, but maybe be closer to that 95, 100 range. So we'll see. But for now, the stormiest part of tomorrow looks to be the early half. All
right, and make sure you join us tonight at 11 o'clock. Angela will be breaking down more of the chance of this severe weather, and we'll talk a little bit more about the heat and humidity. Whew. We're going to have to be dealing with this over the next couple of days, and we'll get back with Angela coming up in a moment. But we do want to turn our attention right now to the big story of the day. Did you happen to catch this video at the Mount Vernon school board meeting last Friday? This doctor gets up, starts talking about the CDC, the state health department, starts talking about masks and vaccines, and his controversial comments made the rounds really across the country. It's been picked up a couple of million hits right now, and our Dustin Grove decided that he wanted to take a look at what happened there in Mount Vernon and some of the claims that this local doctor made.
So things you should know about coronavirus. And
it's not often local school board meetings get a lot of eyeballs online, but this one is traveling the world and has everyone talking.
But so many people have sent me this video about this Mount Vernon school board meeting. And
all eyes on a local family physician's critical comments about how schools and the government are handling the pandemic.
You cannot stop spread. You cannot make these numbers that you've planned on get better by doing any of the things you're doing.
Dr. Dan Stock of McCordsville cited reports that those things just aren't useful, and then took aim at state and federal health officials.
And we're getting our sources of information from the Indiana State Board of Health and the CDC, who actually don't bother to read science before they do this.
Among his claims, masks do not work and the vaccine does not help. The presentation took off like a virus, getting more than 3 million views on YouTube and 10,000 shares on Facebook. This afternoon, the state health department fired back, saying, "We have relied on data and science to make recommendations." A spokesperson added COVID vaccines are, quote, highly effective at preventing hospitalizations and deaths. And the agency pointed to statistics here in Indiana that show most of the people admitted to the hospital for COVID since June 1st were unvaccinated. So what's a school board member to do?
What I would encourage everyone that has heard his testimony at the meeting is to do their own research, to do their own homework, and to not take all of the facts off of a viral video.
Dr. Stock posted his sources online. That board member, Shannon Walls, said she's doing her homework. She told us she reached out to the state health department after Friday's board meeting. After talking for about 2 hours, she said she is pleased with their guidance. Scott and Anne Marie, the board will bring up their COVID safety plan again at their next meeting, August 16th.
All right, Dustin, thanks so much. Let me go ahead and give you a little bit more information about Dr. Stock. He's a licensed primary care physician, runs a concierge family practice in Fishers. He's got a YouTube video connected to his practice, says he did his undergrad at Notre Dame and then graduated from the Indiana University School of Medicine. All right. The Indiana State Department of Health released a complete statement, and I want to at least give you some of the highlights from it. Throughout this pandemic, this is the State Department saying, we have relied on data and science to make recommendations, and we will continue to do so. The COVID vaccines are highly effective at preventing hospitalizations and deaths, as evidenced by the fact that more than 98% of Hoosiers who've been hospitalized with COVID since mid-January are unvaccinated. Even with the current surge in cases driven by the Delta variant, more than 97% of Hoosiers who have been hospitalized with COVID since June 1st have not been vaccinated. We'll continue to follow this story, but if you've been spending any time at all on social media, you've probably seen that video, and we wanted to make sure that you heard the information that Dustin got as part of his story, but we'll continue to verify his claims and make that available to you, not only on Channel 13 News, but across our digital platforms. All right, we want to go ahead and get back with Angela right now and talk about really the feel-good story of the day, though it's difficult to listen to.
Woo, you're not kidding.
This kid who's at Columbus East High School crashes through a window, seriously injured, but a couple of other students rescue him and save his life.
Rescue him, do the right thing, and he is very descriptive in how he's telling the story of what happened to him.
Yeah, we want to warn you as you listen to it, as Angela mentioned, it is descriptive, but Rich and I did a beautiful job telling the story of these couple of heroes at Columbus East. Here's his story.
I can't move my fingers in the slightest on this hand.
Clayton Smith has both arms wrapped in bandages and full of stitches after a freak accident Friday while playing touch football during lunch on the first day of classes at Columbus East High School.
Clayton says he was running for a touchdown, almost to the goal line, when he took a slight bump on a two-hand touch, reached out to support himself, and both arms went through this window.
My first thought pretty much was, oh Lord, I'm going to get suspended. I just broke a window.
Clayton won't be going to class for a while. He didn't get suspended. He severed the tendons on his fingers on his left arm. He cut completely through the main artery near his right elbow.
I knew I was going to have some slight cuts on my hands. Didn't know how severe. I look over and my muscle is out of my arm. And it wasn't a pretty sight. And I started running around the field screaming.
Two fellow sophomores calmed Clayton and put a sweatshirt tourniquet on his badly bleeding right arm until the ambulance arrived.
To be able to help potentially save his life as well as his limb, and they did exactly what they needed to do. They moved quickly, took action, and we're so glad that they were there at the right time.
Thank you so much. Me, my family, we're all very grateful of what you did. You're obviously not medical professionals, but you did exactly what needed to be done on the spot.
All this happened on Clayton's 15th birthday.
If they would have acted 15 seconds later, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. They saved my life.
Doctors at Methodist Hospital reattached everything during 3 hours of surgery Saturday. Clayton expects to eventually regain complete mobility in both arms and hands.
It was originally my whole arm.
For Clayton, I'm glad he's
Yes.
going to be okay. He's going to recover.
And two young men
Yeah.
did the right thing. I assume they're boys. I
Right,
shouldn't say young
right,
men.
right.
Two students did the right thing and knew how to do a tourniquet. When that story was running,
Yeah.
I asked Anne Marie, "Do you do the tourniquet here, or do you
Right.
do it at the top?" Don't think I would know.
These kids knew what they were doing, so
saved his
congratulations
life,
to them.
for
Yeah,
sure.
and we weren't able to give their names because we couldn't reach the parents today. So if we ever hear from those parents and they give us permission to talk to those kids, we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, and the family definitely wants to thank them.
Yeah, you bet.
Personally for saving their son's life.
All right, so it's a warm evening across central Indiana. What's our wake-up weather going to be like?
Wake-up weather still looks stormy. The early half of tomorrow, off and on rain and storms, provided we get another line. Right now, the main line is up near South Bend, producing the threat for damaging winds, so we'll continue to track that for you. At 11, early half of tomorrow looks stormy, off and on rain and storms, and then especially northern half. And then we get some dry time tomorrow afternoon. Another hot, humid day, upper 80s for highs. Those feels like temperatures, 95 to maybe close to 100.
All right, so we know that we are streaming currently on the WTHR app because I'm actually watching it, so there we are.
There we are.
So we are on the app, we are on WTHR.com, and we're on the WTHR YouTube channel. These are the three ways you can watch us. Unfortunately, we have got some technical challenges in getting on Facebook again, so that we wanted to let you know if you're an avid Facebook viewer. Look, we know Anastasia's with us.
I know.
We know Janice is with us.
All our friends.
Blaze Holt is with us, probably.
Yeah, and we feel bad because we can't interact.
We can't interact.
At least in this capacity.
Right.
So there's no way for us to see your comments or for you to even comment. So,
Right.
But we appreciate you watching.
But we know that you're there. We thank you for watching, and Angela and I will be with you every weeknight here at 10 o'clock to have that conversation, and we hope that we'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock over on Channel 13. Good night.